He was the voice of strength and the fighter who turned pain into hits that went platinum. But he kept even his closest fans in the dark about a silent fight that was going on behind the jelly rolls, tattoos, and victories. Then one moment backstage broke it all open, and what happened next shocked his whole team. There were warnings, but did anyone see them in time? Jelly Roll has been more than just a #1 act for years. He's been a sign of staying alive. His story is like a movie script. He went from being locked up to performing at the Grammys, honest, rough, and full of heart. That being said, voices can break when the weight is too much, and Jelly Roll has been carrying a much darker load behind closed doors than anyone thought. People who know the country rap star say that recent events have really shook him up. Jelly Roll was quietly dealing with a personal problem that put his career, his health, his relationships, and even his will to keep going at risk. Fans were happy about his sold-out shows and his big break into the mainstream. It wasn't a big deal or a public breakdown. He's always sung about struggles like addiction, anxiety, and the haunting ghosts of pain that never go away. This song was about something deeper and more human. He said in interviews that the bad times were coming back, but until now, no one knew how close he really was to the edge. Insiders say it began with small changes, like missed calls, cancelled events, and a faraway look in his eyes. But then something big happened. He had to face everything he thought he had mastered because of a personal problem. People around him were scared because it was so powerful. He did what he always does, though. Show his friends that you're brave. The mask is coming off, though. You're about to get into the terrible facts that Jelly Roll never meant to share. Find out what's really been going on behind the songs, the tours, and the attention. As the whole picture comes together, one question remains like smoke in the air. Will the person who got back up from the bottom make it through this fall? He wasn't Jason DeFooled before the big stages, emotional award speeches, or the bright lights. He was just a kid from Nashville, Tennessee's Antioch neighborhood, where dreams didn't often come true. People rarely got second chances. Since he was born on December 4th, 1984, Jason's early years were full of hardship. The man he grew up with was from a working-class family. His mother had mental health problems and was addicted to drugs, and his father sold meat out of a truck to make money. His surroundings was rough, unstable, and not always kind. But in the middle of all that chaos, a young Jason found comfort in music in a strange way. Most of all the ones who were honest, rap music became a safe place for him. He liked artists like Tupac and 3 6 Mafia, who wore their pain like armor and made songs about their scars. He began to write rhymes and dream about bigger things, but the streets were calling him already. Jason's life had become a lot like the ones in the songs he loved by the time he was a youth: crime and jail time. His first time in jail was when he was only 14 years old. By age 16, he had been in and out of youth detention several times. Soon after, he was charged with a felony that would follow him for years. That would have been the end of the road for most people, a one-way ticket to nowhere. But something inside him wouldn't go away. Jason started to get better at writing while he was in jail. He wrote about how he felt in verses, writing songs in jail while daydreaming about a stage he hadn't seen yet. It wasn't just therapy, it was a way to stay alive. And when he finally got out, he turned the name Jelly Roll, which his mother gave him when he was fat, into a brand of brutal honesty. He used the trunk of his car to sell mixtapes, working with other Southern rappers and putting on secret shows. It was a real grind. There are no managers or budgets, just raw ability and a strong will to succeed. His songs was about drug abuse, being poor, broken homes, and finding forgiveness. Not as vague ideas, but as real-life events. The rest of the world began to notice over time, but things didn't go well right away. The public thought of Jelly Roll as just another underground act for many years. His tattoos, heavy build, and often emotional behavior didn't match the polished picture of him in pop culture. But that's what made him real, and it's why his fans became so devoted. They did more than just listen to his songs. They lived them. Also going on behind the scenes was change in Jelly Roll's life. He had a child when he was young, and that changed him more than any hit song ever could. His daughter Bailey Ann became the rock in his storm, keeping him going when it seemed like everything was going wrong. Later, he met podcaster and model bunny So. She became his wife and his rock, helping him through the worst times and making him believe in love again. His family became the most important thing in his life. Jelly Roll made sure his fans knew what was most important to him: his wife, his kids, and the idea of leaving a better memory than the one he came from. He did this even as he went on tour and became famous. The fears never really went away, though. He has been honest about his ongoing struggles with drugs and mental health. He knows that even though his fame has grown, the pain has not gone away. His rise in country music was a surprise to everyone, even himself. But when he moved into the genre and mixed his honest words with twangy melodies and touching stories, it clicked. Suddenly, a whole new group of people found out about Jelly Roll. They saw more than just an artist. They saw a man who had been through the kind of pain that most people try to avoid. Son of a Sinner, his first big hit, showed how contradictory he was. The pull and push between faith and failure, between forgiveness and relapse. The song took him to a whole new level, winning him awards, TV appearances, and even an emotional first performance on the Grand Ole Opry. It was a full-circle moment for the kid from Antioch. It made him cry and made the room full of heroes quiet down. But the weight of his past never left him, even as his fame grew. Jelly Roll has said many times that he doesn't want to be popular, but rather influential. He wants to be the voice that tells hurt people they're not alone. And that goal is good, but it costs a lot. There is more pressure going on behind the scenes. Each success came with more duty, more demands, and more nights spent staring at the ceiling and wondering if he was good enough. And those cracks have been showing up lately. His past, present, and role as a husband, father, and public figure are starting to catch up with him, according to people close to his family and who have worked with him for a long time. Fears of stress, a quiet health scare, and emotional tensions that have been kept inside have all added to the storm that is building below the surface. He still gives his all for fans and smiles for the cameras, but the people who know him best say that something has changed. He is pulling away more, thinking more deeply, and trying to figure out if he can really get away from the pain he has been writing about for decades. That's where Jelly Roll is now. And not just as a singer, as a man stuck between the life he ran away from and the life he's made for himself. Married, a dad, a fighter, and maybe more than ever, a soul that wants peace but keeps getting pulled back into the fire by the world. We don't know what will happen next in his story, but we do know that the fight isn't over and that the next chapter could be the most important one yet. For his physical, emotional, and spiritual health, he started seeing a therapist again, working with a trainer, and getting back into the spiritual routines he had stopped doing when he was so successful. It was more important that he started talking to his family, like Bunny and his daughter, about his fears that he had kept hidden for years. The truth is that the pain never really goes away. It just hides in different places. People who have been following him for a long time know that this isn't the first storm he's been through, but this one feels different. It's not about getting back on your feet after failing. It's about choosing to live fully, even when you feel like you're about to break. That's what makes this part so strong. It's no longer just Jelly Roll who beat the odds and made it. He is the man who stands on top of the mountain and looks back at the darkness. He chooses to walk forward with clarity. Even though it's sad, this moment could be the most important in his life. He makes the choice to do something next that makes him feel bad. Not because of the problem itself. Will he come back better, more focused, and with a clearer plan? Will he finally take charge of his health and put himself first? Or will the weight of what people expect from him push him back into the grind that almost turned everything around? There's no way to be sure. One thing is certain, though. The story of Jelly Roll isn't over yet, still being written one line at a time with each loss and victory. The most important thing this chapter taught us is that even our heroes need to get better. Fans can only wait and hope that the next time he performs, it's not just to please us, but because he really wants to be there, whole, healthy, and ready to start over. Jelly Roll's biggest accomplishment may not be on a Billboard chart, but in the small ways he has made people's lives better. Besides the stage, because there is a man with a tough past and tattoos who has built a reputation based on both success and service. Harvis. Jelly Roll has used his stage over the years not for self-promotion but to get known. For those who have been forgotten, are in jail, are hooked, or have been hurt, he's not just sung about being saved, he's also lived it and helped others get out of the fire. One of the most important things he did was go back to the Nashville Juvenile Prison Center, where he had been held as a teen. Though this time he didn't come in as a prisoner, he came in as a teacher. He gave $250,000 to build a music studio inside the prison. This gave the young prisoners a way to express themselves, a voice, and hope that they could also change their lives. He told CBS Mornings in 2023 that he wanted to give these kids hope. Help me stay alive. It might also save theirs. That wasn't the end of his work. Jelly Roll has also been a strong supporter of mental health awareness, drug recovery, and changes to the way the criminal justice system works. He's given talks at treatment centers, helped non-profit re-entry programs, and used his social media following to raise money for families whose loved ones are addicted. At a time when many celebs avoid talking about real-life problems, Jelly Roll does. Even his marriage to Bunny So, his wife, has turned into a source of love and healing. Together, they've made their podcast, Dumb Blonde, a place where people can talk freely about trauma, recovery, and redemption. It's not just fun to listen to, but it's also a safe place to feel better, way better. Fans of Jelly Roll aren't just friends, they've been through a lot. People who have never been to one of his shows before say that they feel more like group therapy where strangers sing along with their own pain and healing. And that may be what makes him so important. He's built a group. He gave people a voice who didn't have one before. He proved that your past doesn't decide what will happen in the future. He has shown us that forgiveness is messy, but it is possible. Now that he is going through one of the hardest times in his life, Jelly Roll's memory seems more important than ever, because they have faith, not because they are afraid. Have faith that the man who got back up after falling can do it again. This time he did it for himself, not for fame or praise. The story of Jelly Roll isn't a fairy tale. It's not clean, it is not polished or expected. It is a battle-scarred ballad. One with bad decisions, broken hearts, brave comebacks, and lines that were never finished. But that's what makes it so strong. Because Jelly Roll takes his whole story with him when he goes on stage, and when he's not in the spotlight, it's a warning that even our heroes get hurt. Our loudest sounds need time to rest every once in a while, and the person who gave us hope might need us more than ever right now. If his music has ever made you feel better, if his words have ever helped you sleep, or if his story has ever shown you that healing is possible, then now is the time to stand up for him. Send him love and prayers as he gets better. And remember his story if you're going through your own tough time. You're not by yourself. You are important. Also, you can start over at any time. Please like this video, subscribe, and click the notify me button while we wait for the next episode.